Hello friends, and welcome back to the witching month of October. As is only appropriate for this glitteringly dark gem of a season, I've decided to delve into a new historical fashion venture, and that is designing a Rococo era ball gown. So the fashion of this era is known for its opulence and striking designs, so with a bit of luck, I'm hoping I might have the project finished in time for the colder months around the festive period. And I do add the disclaimer that I am not a dress historian, so please take my research with a pinch of salt. So first of all, you might be wondering, when was the Rococo era? It was a fashion period as well as artistic movement which originated in France and spanned from about 1720 to 1770. But most notably in women's fashion, it featured these really highly ornamental and extravagant designs. Rococo fashions are also really heavily noticeable in famous artworks such as Fragonard's The Swing. So this is a painting that's really famous from 1776. Its pastoral motifs and delicate colour palette of blue, greens and pinks are highly characteristic of the era, and I particularly love the swirling, almost fantastical depiction of the garden in the background. However, all fashions change, most obviously in this case because of the French Revolution, and in the later 1700s, Rococo style gave way to NeoClassicism. Many people had criticised Rococo designs for being too superficial and extravagant, and vast quantities of people were suffering in poverty while the elite privileged aristocracy dressed to excess. By the late 1780s, of course, came the rise of the French Revolution, which called for freedom, equality, and fraternity. So now that we know a little bit about the era, what about the characteristics of its fashions? So first of all, we'll go for the undergarments, and I'll begin with stays. You might be wondering what the difference between corsets and stays are, as the former term has garnered much wider cultural resonance in recent years. However, stays are a much stiffer undergarment intended to enhance an upright posture. These are laced at the centre front with a single spiral thread and used whalebone or wooden busks which are inserted through channels to create a shape. Corsets, on the other hand, are traditionally softer garments which can be laced to create an hourglass figure. These came on slightly later in time. They were usually laced at the back with a crisscross lacing pattern, but most importantly, both stays and corsets should be snug fitting but comfortable and fit well to provide support. They were not frequently tight laced as some period dramas might suggest, and in fact, if worn correctly, they should be above all a garment for comfort and support. The second really important undergarment for this period was the panier. Panier is a French term which means basket, and it describes the enormous hoop-shaped undergarment which enabled Rococo skirts to foster such an incredibly wide silhouette at the hips. As you can see in this sketch, by wearing this kind of undergarment, it allows the overskirt of the main fabric, or the petticoats, to drape in this really broad pattern, like you may see in a lot of the famous paintings of the era. So next let's look at some overgarments. So the bodice of this period typically had a gap at the centre front where a decorative piece called a stomacher could be placed. The stomachers were often highly elaborate and featured many bows of different sizes all the way down the front of the bodice. Next we have some sleeve pieces called engagements, and for the most luxurious clothing, sleeves might have been finished with a ruffle of lace. Engagements were detachable sleeves which sat under the main sleeve and could be removed and laundered separately. There were many styles, with some being made from fine fabrics such as lace or fine cotton. Last but not least, we come to the skirts. Many gowns of this period featured a split skirt design where at the front the petticoats were allowed to peek through, but this was not essential or seen in all dresses. What people wore was largely a matter of class, as only the very rich could have afforded large swathes of expensive luxury fabric. As you can see, the pattern I'm designing is for a ball gown in a rich golden yellow colour. To be completely honest, I came to this decision of colour through a process of elimination, as I asked myself what colour dresses have I not made before, and I also thought that gold tied in really well to the opulence of the era. Incidentally, you may be wondering if Belle's gown, from the Disney animated version of Beauty and the Beast, is from a similar period in time as what we're discussing here, and it actually is. It's set in 18th century France, which is why there is such heavy ornament and glamour to both Belle's iconic ball gown and also the castle's decor in general. So just a fun fact, but one in which I take great delight. And here is the finished sketch. So this is just a little project for fun, but I'm hoping that once I've got a bit more time, I will be able to gather the materials and actually have a go at making this gown. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more videos on this project or otherwise. Have a lovely rest of October, and I will see you again soon.